Hello and welcome to Katharine's Creatures. This is a series where I get to talk a little bit about and touch base upon various mythological beings, and the like pulled from lore worldwide. And I always like to preface by saying that I am not a linguist, so if I mispronounce anything, I do apologize in advance. And today I wanted to talk about the black shuck, also known by some other names, including old shuck, old Shuck, or just simply Shuck. And this is a creature that kind of falls into a category typically described as these giant ghostly dogs that lurk throughout the British Isles. For the black shuck, it comes from a particular area, and that would be the coastline and the countryside of East Anglia. And there are a variety of different stories and descriptions for this creature. It is most often thought of being an omen of death, though there are notes about the fact that it is a companionable creature and not something that's only terrifying, but I'll explain that in just a moment. Now, the name Shuck, black shuck or old shuck, comes, or possibly comes from, I should say, an Old English word, Shucka, which translates to devil or fiend. Again, thought of this terrifying, haunting creature. Now, the descriptions for it range, and more often than not, it's described as a very large dog, but there have been instances where the black shuck's been described as either some black giant calf or a horse. It's supposed to prowl, again, dark lanes and the lonesome fields and the footpaths that cross over those fields. Its howl, again, going back to the fact that most likely than not, it's described as a canine creature. If you hear it howl, the listener's blood runs cold. And that could be for several reasons. One being the fact that if you lay eyes on the creature, it will foretell your own death. And essentially, if you see it, you will die before the end of the year. So one of the rules of thumb is if you hear the black shuck's howl, close your eyes, because you don't want to lay your eyes upon this creature. Now, talking about eyes, the creature's eyes are interesting. They're often described as being these fiery eyes. At least in one circumstance, they were described as being as large as saucers. Again, a very, very big creature, so oversized. A wolf, dog, calf kind of thing with these big glowing eyes that come at you in the dark of the night. So again, this kind of creepy creature. Now, going back to the note of companionship, the only thing I could think of when I saw that note could be the fact that there have been instances where the black shuck was described as being essentially used as the hunting dogs for the wild hunt, which if you don't know about, I highly advise to check that out. That's a different topic for another day, but fascinating in and among itself. Also, the black shuck has had stories that link it to several churches. In particular, one was Bungay, and the other is Blythsburg. Hopefully I pronounced both of them correctly, and they're located in Suffolk. Again, we're talking about areas in East Anglia and the British Isles. And in those stories, the black shuck, at least in one time in particular, was noted to actually kill people who were outside the particular church. And in the morning when people came out to investigate, there were scorch marks left on one of the doors of the church where the dog had tried to get inside. But again, these kind of black dogs, these haunting dog figures, there are a number of them out there all over the British Isles. So if you heard something very similar by a different name, it's probably just, again, a different regional variation of this creature. Now, black shuck, and again, this concept is something that has fascinated people for years and years. You'll see it and hear about it in modern retellings and fantasy. One I noted, which was kind of interesting, is the black shuck does pop up in the Assassin's Creed Valhalla game, so you may have seen it there if you've played that game before. Now, if you have any questions for me about this or anything else, please post them in the comments below or reach out to me on any of my social media. Until next time, Skål.